Hey beautiful people, today we're going to be making some fruit leather. I went ahead and used some raspberries for this recipe, bananas, honey, lemon, and applesauce. You will also need a blender, some wax paper, and some kind of frozen fruit. I went with mixed berries. This particular bag has raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and strawberries. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and chop up my bananas. For this recipe, I just used 3, but you can use however many you like. I chopped them into about quarter-size pieces, but you can chop them however you want, or you don't have to chop them at all. You can break them apart with your hand. They will get blended up no matter what, so it doesn't matter how you break them. I went with an organic theme here, and all of the products that I'm using are organic. The raspberries, the lemon, banana, all of that is organic. The mixed berries that I'm using, and the honey. The honey is not only organic, but it is also unfiltered, so I can have a more raw version of that. I do prefer organic over non-organic products because it doesn't have synthetic products in it, such as pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers. And I'll go into a little more detail about that later on. Once I'm finished chopping up my bananas, I did slice my lemon in half. For this recipe, I will only be using 1 lemon, but you can, I'm only using half of the lemon, but you can use the entire lemon if you'd like. The lemon is there for the color and for the acidity, so if you like a little more acidity, please feel free to use both halves. I'm also going to be cleaning out my raspberries. I added some baking soda in that water, as you can see, and I just got it all into the nooks and crannies, and I'm gonna let this sit for at least 10 to 15 minutes, just personal preference, but you can let it sit however long you want or however not long you want. It's all up to you. But once that's finished cleaning to my liking, I just dump that out and put it right with the rest of the fruit so that I can get everything else together. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some of the measurements that I have now for a couple of the items that we're gonna be adding. All right, so I went and used 2 cups of applesauce, the entire box of the raspberries, and then I'm going to wind up using 2 tablespoons of the honey and the lemon. But again, you can use however much you like of the lemon. I went to measure out the lemon. I squoze it, I put it in the red one, and just to pre-measure it, I could have just poured this directly in there, and I don't know why I didn't because I spilled a little bit. But I like to get as much as I can out of that lemon, so when squeezing this out, I wound up getting exactly 2 tablespoons, and I didn't need any more than that. That is the acidity that I'm comfortable with. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and put all of our ingredients together. I started with adding in my frozen fruit, but the order does not matter. You can put this in whatever order you like. It will all get blended. It's all gonna be in there and turn out great. All of the flavors will get mixed all in there. Now, I did want to go over those synthetic products that we talked about that I am making a big point to avoid in all of the products that I'm putting in my body and my family's body. So with inorganic products, you will have to deal with pesticides that are used on them, and that's been linked to Parkinson's disease, asthma, depression, and anxiety, and it can cause reproductive harm. Then there's herbicides, and those have been linked to respiratory disease and DNA or abnormalities, and fertilizers. With inorganic products, the fertilizers are used, and those have been linked to blood disorders, Alzheimer's, and diabetes. All of those products I am doing everything I can to stay away from. So that's why we're moving on to organic and using all organic products in this particular fruit leather. But of course, you don't have to use whatever products you like, but I recommend trying out some organic products. They taste just as delicious, if not more. Now, the applesauce that we're using, it actually is going to give your leather a thicker feel. It's going to be more pliable because of the pectin that's in applesauce, and it has fiber in it that's going to hold everything together. And then we aren't using any sugar, so our sugar will be honey. That's how we're going to sweeten our fruit leather, and it also does help a little bit with the pliability as well. So make sure that you add a little bit of honey because you don't want it to be tart or bitter. This helps with that flavor, and in an effort to save products and not to waste anything, I will be scraping out every little bit I can out of here, making sure that nothing goes to waste. Shout out to Kevin Outdoors. He helped me learn how to make this fruit leather, and the flavor that he did was pretty great. I believe he did like a banana raspberry flavor, which was awesome. I am doing and he did them separately. He made them as two separate flavors and then kind of swirled them together. I'm doing one flavor and mine is berry, and I am going to experiment with other flavors as well. I do have an idea for a pear flavor, so keep an eye out for that. Now, while blending, I did notice that it wasn't really moving. My blender isn't the strongest, so I added a little bit of water to this mixture. So if you notice that it's not blending properly, go ahead and do that. Add a little bit of water and it'll start going immediately, and you get this nice smooth consistency. Looks just like a smoothie. And for me, this was a little bit thin, so what I did was, off camera, I added a little more frozen fruit to the mixture to thicken it up. As you can see, I'm just kind of shaking that back up, making sure that that gets blended nice and well and incorporated. And I missed a berry, so I'm just gonna throw that in there. I didn't mind. I was fasting this day, so I wasn't able to try it myself. I had my man try it, and he said it was great. I got the thumbs up, so I went ahead and moved forward with this mixture. Seems like it's going to taste good. This is my first time making this fruit leather, so I did make a couple of mistakes, and I am gonna go ahead and mention those because I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I made. I just was so excited, got gung-ho, poured so much mixture in there. Don't do that, guys. The idea is to do about 1/4 inch thick because it takes less time to dehydrate it. I wound up having to do a very long dehydration time because I poured it way too thick. So please, guys, be warned, don't do it. Be careful. Don't get too excited like me. So if you pour it about 1/4 inch thick, then you should only have to dehydrate it for maybe about 12 to 14 hours or so. With pouring it on this thick, I wound up having to dehydrate for about 24 to 26 or so hours, and it wound up resulting in hard pieces. And that's something that I definitely will make sure not to do next time. I won't add that. Learn from my mistake, guys. Just don't do it. I had so much extra. I mean, shockingly, I still had some extra, so I poured the rest of that in a cup, but it is a lot in this pan. You can't see the depth of it, but I poured way too much, so please be careful. Don't pour too much, guys. Those hard pieces were no fun. It definitely messed with the process. So this is after the about 26 hours, and as you can already see, there are hard pieces all along the edges, and you are going to deal with a little bit of paper sticking. So it's a process. You're gonna go ahead and have to peel that off a little bit, but don't worry, not too much should be stuck. And through this process, if you did it right, hopefully nothing would get stuck, and you should be able to just flip it over during the 12 to 14 hours where you'll have both sides nice and soft and pliable. But if you can, try to avoid my mistake of doing it and getting hard pieces. Now, it wasn't hard completely throughout. It was mostly on the outer edges, and towards the middle, it was a lot more pliable, a lot more soft, but it was a little rough to eat, I'm not gonna lie. And one other suggestion I would like to make is strain. Strain, strain, strain. On this batch, it has so many seeds, and the seeds are great for you. They are healthy. You can eat them, and they are very good for you. There's no problem with that. It just added a crunchy aspect that I didn't need because I already accidentally made it a little crunchy by having to dehydrate it for so long. So the extra seeds and the extra crunch was not for me. But if you like it, then do you leave them in there. But for my next trial, I will be double straining, making sure that those seeds are left out of there, and pouring about 1/4 inch thick only in the pan so that it doesn't take so long to dehydrate and it's very soft and pliable. Now, what I'm gonna do here is roll them into like almost fruit roll-ups, basically. And so I'm just cutting them, and as you can see, the start of the cut was rough, but when you get a little more towards the middle, it's very soft. So I loved this. It tasted delicious. When I finally was able to eat some, I loved it outside of the crunchier pieces. The flavor was great. It was smoothie adjacent tasting because you're trying to make a natural product and it's homemade, and it doesn't include all those sugars and bad products that it shouldn't include. It's not going to be super sweet. It's not going to be like that unless you do actually add sugar. But I am working on moving away from sugar as much as possible. So it's tasty, it's good, but it tastes more like fruit without the sugar. So keep that in mind with this product. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be good for your body. Your body is gonna be happy with it. So I highly recommend. And put it in whatever container you have in however long you want it to last. I'm just putting it in a regular container here. So this wound up giving me a good 3 weeks, and it was great. Though they were still fresh. But if this was an airtight container, it could last for months. So depending on the type of containers you have, definitely look that up. And if you like this video, please feel free to subscribe and like, give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions or you tried other flavors, let me know. This is my first video, so it's a work in progress. I know that lighting could use a little bit of work, but guys, I am doing the dang thing. I just want to share what I am learning. So if you like my content, please subscribe so you know whenever I post a video. Thank you so much for watching, guys.